are so much stronger, so much more resolved than any enemy can fully understand. As a nation, we're united. And when people harm Americans, we don't retreat. We don't forget. We take care of those who are grieving. And when that's finished, they should know we will follow them to the gates of hell until they are brought to justice. Because hell is where they will reside. Hell is where they will reside.
All right, folks, so welcome aboard the Wednesday edition of the Steve Malzberg Show. We're moments away from being joined by Billy and Karen Vaughn. They're the parents of Special Ops Chief and U.S. Navy SEAL Aaron Carson Vaughn, who was killed in Afghanistan in 2011 after we got Osama bin Laden, and they wrote a book about it, and we'll talk about all that with them, and their call for President Obama to resign. Now, President Obama, and we'll play some of these bites with Billy and Karen, talked about ISIS today, in addition to speaking about Russia while he was in Estonia. But it was the vice president that really got emotional, that really took it up a notch and talked about the gates of hell and that ISIS will reside in hell. And you saw the passion. That's always been lacking in President Obama, and it was lacking in his mixed message remarks that he made today. But we'll talk about that, as I said, right now with Billy and Karen Vaughn. But first, let's watch this, a little bit about their son, Aaron Vaughn. Watch.
The identities of the SEAL Team 6 are kept secret, but now their names will likely become public under the worst of circumstances. Today, the local paper says it all. Loss hits home.
A mother, a father, and a community say goodbye to a fallen Navy SEAL who had ties to the Treasure Coast. Now, Vaughn was a husband, a father of two, and his family says he will always wanted to be a Navy SEAL.
I'm very proud of him. He was such a good boy, and he loved his country. And I talked to him on his birthday, and he said, "Granny," he said, "don't worry about me. I'm not afraid."
All right, folks, and as promised, the parents of Special Operations Chief and U.S. Navy SEAL Aaron Carson Vaughn, who was killed in Afghanistan in 2011, are with us. Billy and Karen Vaughn. Of course, they have a wonderful book called Betrayed, which tells the story, and they've written an op-ed urging President Obama. There you see the book on the screen. They've written an op-ed urging President Obama to resign over ISIS. Billy and Karen, welcome to both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Steve.
I know that you wrote this op-ed urging the resignation of President Obama after you viewed the slaughtering of one of our two journalists, but that was not the video from yesterday. We're talking about James Foley, and of course yesterday we saw another video was released by ISIS, and that of course Steven Sotloff also met the same fate. I want you to listen to what the president said today about ISIS. Two cuts. Here's the first one.
The question is going to be making sure we've got the right strategy, but also making sure that we've got the international will to do it. This is something that is a continuation of a problem we've seen certainly since 9/11, but before. And it continues to metastasize in different ways. And what we've got to do is make sure that we are organizing the Arab world, the Middle East, the Muslim world, along with the international community, to isolate this cancer.
Well, he called it a cancer. And then he went on to say, actually, that ISIS is could be a manageable problem if the international community comes together. Let me get your reaction before we get to when you watch the video. Your reaction to how he's handling this today.
If I can start real quick, and then Billy, we both have something to say about this. But you know, just this morning we watched a friend of those two journalists talk about that very comment that Barack Obama just made, and he made such an excellent point. If you have cancer, you don't manage cancer, you crush it. You do your best to defeat and crush it. And also, I'm so offended by saying we need to get the pulse of the international community. Those were Americans that were slaughtered, not the international community. I'm so sick and tired of these vague terms and this needing somebody else to do something first before this president acts.
Yeah, and Billy, I'm sure you would echo your wife's sentiments.
Absolutely. He just looks for an excuse not to act. He doesn't need to worry about the will of the international community. This man has no will, or either he is complicit one. He talks like someone, I don't know any other way to say it. It sounds like he has no soul. He has no passion. You can get him excited talking about the minimum wage or talking about the way that somebody's, being treated at work, about that. In other words, about problems in America, but you cannot get him excited. You cannot get any passion out of this man about threats to our republic. And there's a deep-seated problem there. I don't know what it is.
It's as if the human cost is of no relevance to him.
Now
very shocking.
You guys you penned the letter, the op-ed requesting his resignation. What do you hope to accomplish by that?
Well, we hoped he'd resign. We don't expect him to resign, but the recourse that American citizens have, that's the only recourse we have to get a president to step down in the middle of his term. And who knows? Who knows? Only God above knows that if enough of Americans would get on board, it may force him to step aside and let someone else lead who loves this republic.
We've been doing a lot of traveling across the country, and we've talked to tons of patriots as we've spoken. And, one thing that I've found is that this is the pulse of the nation. I hear it everywhere I go. From both sides of the aisle, I'm hearing this, that it's time for this president to step down. We can't get Congress to act because we know the Senate won't do anything if Congress does act. We can't seem to get military officials to step in and handcuff him and pull him out of that office. And so it seems like it's up to the American people to scream loud enough to make something happen. And, when we were penning it, I was just thinking, I just want to embolden and impassion the American people that we do still have a voice. And because of social media, the mainstream media might shut you down, but because of social media and great outlets like you guys, we can get this voice heard and we can rally together and say enough is enough. We want our nation back.
And by the way, the website folks should go to is forourson.us, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Correct.
forourson.us. I always want to give you the opportunity and anyone in your situation to tell folks about Aaron. And we heard a little in the introduction. But what would you want people to know most, Karen, as a mom?
Well, the most important thing to Billy and I was Aaron's personal relationship with Christ. We will always say that's the most important thing because of two reasons. We know now where he is today. We know that, that God didn't make a mistake on August 6, 2011, when our son went home to be with him. And also, the reason I say that's so important is because Aaron made that decision to give his life to Christ at a very young age. And he had a tenacity about him, a righteous indignation about him that was very uncharacteristic of young boys. He always wanted to defeat evil. It's what motivated him to do what he did, and that's why we started out that whole letter with what drove Aaron to become a Navy SEAL. From the time he was 8 years old, he told everybody who'd listen that's what he was going to be. He overcame unimaginable odds to accomplish it because he knew he needed to play his part in American history as someone who defended and protected all that had been sacrificed before for us. This president doesn't feel that way, clearly.
Billy, when you made the decision to watch the entire beheading video of James Foley, and you watched it, describe what went through your mind.
I wasn't shocked. It was very disappointing, Steve, that as much blood and treasure has been spent by Americans and others in Western civilization in that area, that we're having to do this all over again, and we're experiencing it all over again. It was just, and I believe we're worse off than we were when we started.
Karen, did you watch the video?
I did. I watched it first and then showed it to Billy. I feel like it's a gruesome thing to watch, but I feel like it's important sometimes for us to see the reality of what's happening,
Absolutely.
Not just hear about it or read about it. It is important for Americans to understand this is real, that this evil is real, that real threat is here in America, and we better wake up. And we better stop sitting idly by and waiting for a president who cannot act on our behalf to do work we know he's not going to do.
And the former police commissioner of New York told me not too long ago, after the Foley beheading video was released, on the day it was released, that every American, as gruesome as it is, needs to see it to understand exactly the point you made. And I want to point out, folks, the book Betrayed tells the story, which we don't have time to go into right now. We have in the past of why that Navy SEAL operation never should have taken place, the one that killed so many of our fine special ops forces, including, of course, Karen Vaughn. It never should have taken place. Procedure wasn't followed. It was a mission maybe not even worth undertaking in the first place, and it was very unusual. And then, of course, to be outed by Joe Biden and the U.S. government as to which team it was, and actually, but they outed it was the Osama bin Laden SEAL team that was outed, and this could have been retaliation for that. It's just a horrific story. I urge you all to get the book Betrayed and check out forOurSon.us. And Billy and Karen Vaughn, our prayers are always with you, and thank you for speaking out. I appreciate that, and so do the American people who are watching you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, take care. Billy and Karen Vaughn, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, U.S. Navy SEAL Special Ops Chief Aaron Carson Vaughn, killed back in Afghanistan in 2011. When we come back, the Malzberg panel, we'll talk about this and much more. Don't go away.